Hi guys, I'm joined by Luchae Williams today. I'm not going to tell you a lot about her because I'm going to leave that to her introduction. I'm probably going to elongate that so much because there's quite a few things that she has done and is busy with. So welcome Luchae, and just give us a bit about yourself and what you do.
I'm Luchae Williams. I'm a mom of many children. The joke is that I have many children so that I can name them. I enjoy naming things. I also have a blog. I'm a parenting blogger, and I'm the co-organizer of EC Meetup, which is an annual blogger conference that takes place in the Eastern Cape. It's the biggest blogger conference this side of South Africa. I'm very proud of it. I head up digital advertising at the Herald or Herald Live, which is the biggest newspaper in the Eastern Cape's website, essentially. And what else? That's all. That's me in a nutshell.
I want to zoom in just on what you were saying initially. The very first thing how you introduced yourself was that you were mommy of quite a few kids. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that is probably one of the things which led you to start blogging, because you were a mommy blogger, if you can call it that. Maybe tell us a bit about that, what that's about, what you do, the things you say or write about.
Yeah. I actually started blogging in like 2011. I was not married back then. And I kind of found that I ran out of things to say until I had my daughter, which is my husband and I's first child. Then I was like, hey, I have all of a sudden so much wisdom that I don't know where it comes from. You just kind of feel like you know everything when you're a mother. I don't know if other mothers can relate. And so I was like, you know what? I want to share this with the world. And also I want to kind of like document this experience because you go through a lot as a parent and it passes by like in a second. So my blog was kind of like a diary for me, where I would share the ups and downs and the challenges and the funny things and all of that. And then later on, like I'm talking maybe a year later, a year or two, I discovered people were actually earning from their blog. They were making money through their blog. And I was like, yeah, I'm in on that. I want to get in on that. And so my blog turned into a business essentially.
Oh, that's awesome. And that's actually one of the things that this channel looks at is the business side of things. But before we get to the business side of things, so you write, and how did you start writing? And was it like on social media? Do you have a website? How did that start?
You know, I would like to say I was one of the first. I don't know if I was one of the first, but I'd like to think I was one of the first people on Facebook who would make use of the notes section. Facebook used to have a Facebook notes section. Do you remember that? I don't know.
I kind of
I'm older
do.
than you, so maybe there's before. So Facebook had a notes section, and I used
Uh-huh.
to write these little, like, on say, I call it blog posts. I used to write these blog posts in Facebook notes before even knowing what a blog was.
Hmm.
So I always just had a lot to say. I just always had a lot of opinion. And then a friend of mine had a blog, and she was like, "You should actually put all of this on a website or on a blog page." And then I discovered Blogspot. Do you know Blogspot?
I do know Blogspot.
That was like the Google blogging
Uh-huh.
platform. It wasn't really wasn't really good, but I mean that's how I built my very first blog. I eventually moved over to WordPress, which is the preferred blogging platform of of choice. And I think my blog kind of grew once I moved over to WordPress, just because of the compatibilities and the plugins, and there's so much scope to like just to personalize your website. So yeah, that's how I started writing. My writing style is very like I'm not a technical writer. My writing style is very much how I speak is how I write. I just feel like people can relate to that. I'm not very technical about it.
Hmm.
Um, what I normally do is I read my blog post out
Okay.
loud, and it sounds like a conversation. I'm like, yeah, that's right. So yeah, I think
That's
that's
awesome. I mean, with blogging, it is kind of who you are that you need to bring out in your writing. So, and that is kind of cool, especially with the way you write. Because I kind of know you, kind of. You can see that
not
come
weird that
through.
you're following a mommy blog at all.
Not at
No,
all, it's not
I'm
like I'm a
joking.
mommy or a daddy.
Yeah,
But
nah.
yeah, I actually am, or the one. But so look, having now your WordPress and moving off Blogspot, how did you get people to engage with your website, to actually read your
Yeah,
content?
that's a good question. Well, I started, or I still use Facebook. I mean, there's a lot of social media platforms available right now, but I feel like Facebook, if you are in like a newspaper or magazine space, sharing your articles obviously to Facebook is the cleverest way to get your things out there. And especially if you're going to have like captions or titles that are really interesting, it's the best way to get views on your articles or on your website, etc. But that's essentially how I got my blog out there. I would just use Facebook. I would share the link to. I was very forward, like my family shame. I would just be like, "You guys need to read this," with no other information, so that it kind of, they're like, "Oh, now we have to read it," because they don't know what it is about. So that's kind of how I would trick people into reading my blog. Yeah. The other thing I found is that people like free stuff. So if there's like a promise of getting something for free or winning something, they're more likely to click through. And then it totally makes, I'm not gonna lie. So yeah.
Okay, I don't want to get into that yet, but
Yeah.
something that I do want to touch on as well. So having all your viewers now, you've got, I don't want to put the number to it, but there's quite a few readers on your blog. I'll put the snippet down below of the last time I actually checked how many readers you have, which is quite a bit. How do you manage the engagement? I mean, people like, obviously I think would reach out to you or make comments or stuff like that on the blog. How do you manage that, and do you respond to everyone?
You know what? I used to. I've since the with the addition of each new child in my life, it's become really hard to reply to every single one. And then it makes me feel like, oh, should I stop being a diva? Like I'm not a Kardashian. I should be replying to people. So I try my very best. The best ones for me are when I get inboxes about like, hey, you should really write about this or really write about that. It makes me feel like people feel as if I'm gonna do the research, like proper research to give them relevant information. So I'm a trusted source of information. It makes me feel like, yeah. But then it also keeps me accountable because you can't just go and put any crap out there. You
Yeah,
need to, that what you're saying is the truth, or at least
yeah.
you've done, like I say, thorough research. So yeah, that's how I try to. When it comes to blog engagement, as in your website,
Mm-hmm.
um, look, social media is a lot harder because I feel like people come to your blog knowing what they're gonna get or what to expect, or they're coming to you.
Yeah,
With social media, they're not necessarily come logging on for you.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
just on. So it's a lot easier, I feel like, to get like blog engagement, as in comments and whatever, versus social media. Yeah.
Okay. And then, talking about social media and blogging, there's this concept which is called microblogging. I know you're the pro in this, so maybe if you can break that down for us, the blogging versus microblogging concept.
Look, I am very salty about the whole matter because I feel like Instagram killed the blog. I actually said that the other day. I was like, Instagram killed the blog. Everybody, Instagram must fall. Because I feel like more people are on social media now, and people are less inclined to visit blogs now. I've seen over the years, I've seen a decrease in blog views and maybe like an increase in, on Instagram or whatever. I think people are lazy, to be honest. They don't list to click, you know.
They don't want to
Um,
read,
I
probably.
want to read.
Uh-huh.
Also, a lot more bloggers are now using Instagram to post literally, I call it a blog post because it's that long. The captions are so long, it could literally be a whole blog post, but they're sticking it on Instagram. The
Okay.
pros and cons to this is that, well, Instagram is kind of, it's easier. It's easy to be a micro blogger than a blogger because you don't need a website. You don't need to build a website and drive traffic to it. You can just
Mm-hmm.
gooi on. But the cons to that is if Instagram goes down, you've lost your whole microblog.
Yeah.
You've lost it. There's no personal identity to your profile on Instagram. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, there's pros and cons. I'm not for it.
Okay. Are you on Instagram?
I am, just
Okay.
because the cool people are doing it, and I just want to be cool. So yeah, I'm on.
Okay, cool. So now we'll get that details later. So just when you started blogging, did you, I know you said earlier, you know, people were making money from it and you saw that. Did you think that it could be a career option for you?
I did, but then I was like very realistic about it because I know in America there's like a lot of YouTubers and bloggers who earn like their full salary via,
Mm-hmm.
doing that. In South Africa, not so much. I think it's growing now, but you need to be really successful and really like committed in order to drop your day job and do like only this. But I
Mm-hmm.
can say that I have earned quite a considerable amount of money, via my blog. See, it's seasonal, so like maybe over Christmas time there may be more campaigns or brands coming looking to work with you on a campaign. But yeah, there is definitely earning potential.
Okay.
Definitely.
Awesome, man. I want to get into a few other things, but you were talking about this campaign, like the seasonal campaigns. If,
Mm.
for instance, I was a blogger or I wanted to be a blogger, how would I get to join, or, you know, people approach me for things like that?
Yeah, it's a good question because I think a lot of new bloggers, that's the same thing they wonder, like, how do I get in? Um, for me personally, I'm lucky because, like, as you can see, I'm very outspoken. And but also because I was hosting the EC Meetup blogger event. So if you attend the event, you get a nice goodie bag filled with different, items from brands who are looking to work with bloggers.
Okay.
So we did that because when you're posting about this lipstick, for example, and you're tagging whoever brand, whatever brand this is,
Yeah.
you kind of then alerting them like, hey, I'm here, look at me, look at the type of content I can create.
Okay.
uh, it doesn't mean that I got this for free, maybe I bought this,
Yeah.
but in tagging the brand and making sure my content is on point, my captions on point, I have an engaged audience on social media that is wanting to see this and liking
Yeah.
this. You're showing the brand because nowadays, look, you obviously like the social media manager position is a real thing. Like people get employed to manage social media,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So those people are they're not robots. They're literally sitting behind the laptops and looking for influencers and people who are pushing out content. And that's where you come in. You need to put yourself out there. But if you have a campaign idea, and I've done this before, like maybe you're like, hey, I'm moving house. I
Mm-hmm.
really need to work with some whatever a furniture company with you. I would put together a whole campaign and say, this is what I can deliver. Like this is the type of content I in mind. This is how you can partner with me. Da, 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 da. And I would send it off and introduce myself, etc.
Okay. Awesome.
It's quite
That's,
nerve.
I would
Also,
believe you.
you must be like, you know what? I can handle rejection. I don't like rejection, but I've had to like
Yeah,
deal with
it sounds like you need
it.
to be one of those cold salespeople, you know, phoning
Yeah,
people. I'm
yeah,
here. Can you
yeah.
do that?
That's
Okay.
hectic. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. So, just maybe about this event that you were talking about. How often does it happen, and where would you find details about this?
Yeah. EC Meetup is an annual event. We normally have a big conference in May. I don't know what it will look like this year because of COVID and
Mm-hmm.
all of that. And then we have a smaller conference at the end of the year. That one's a lot more chilled, etc. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not sure what 2021 will look like. We had to like put it on hold last year.
Mm-hmm.
But we've had a few, we've had like what 8 events so far, and each time we have it, it just grows bigger and bigger and bigger, and with more people that attend. So
That's
yeah.
awesome. And where can people find out some info about it?
Okay, so on both on Facebook and Instagram, you can just search for EC Meetup,
Mm-hmm.
and then you'll find the details.
EC
EC
Meetup.
Meetup. There's also
EC
a
Meetup.
website, but
Okay.
there.
You've mentioned that obviously you've made some money from this, and obviously you're running campaigns and freebies and that type of things that you've given away actually on your blog that I've seen.
Yeah.
When you do things like your accounting, do you separate that? Do you have an actual business that you'd put that under, or are you kind of just solo entrepreneuring the whole thing?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Um, I am solo entrepreneuring. I was actually saying that I should be taking it a little bit more seriously. And I know that there are a lot of people who do take it a little bit more seriously. I think if I had the time, and I think if this was my only source of income, I would be doing the solo thing, doing the business angle of it,
Okay.
because it certainly is a business. I
Yeah.
mean, you not only are you creating content, but you need to send a quote, then you need to send an invoice, get a PO, etc., etc. You need to have your reporting templates in place so that if they want reports on how well the campaign did, you've got your stats and your figures and all of that. You need to have a rate card to show them what your rates are. You need to have a media kit to show them what you're able to offer, etc. So it is very business orientated.
Mm-hmm.
I need to employ someone to do that business stuff for me. I'll just make the children. Someone else can do the paperwork. It'll be great.
I'm sure they can carry some cameras and things like that around
Yeah,
for you. You know? Yeah,
totally.
definitely do it. So it sounds quite intense, actually. Like obviously for me, I don't know what happens behind the scenes. You know, when you doing things, but you started doing some YouTubing as well. That I've seen your daughter Karis on quite a bit. Does that form part of like your brand, if you would call it?
You know what? I do know, I mean, working in digital as my 9 to 5 at the Herald, I do know that video is the way of the future. Everything is geared more towards video, and even on social media, the algorithms favor video content. So it's like a no-brainer that video is where it's at right now and what you should be doing.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get into it. I struggle, like I say, if I had more time, I definitely would, because you need to have your editing game on point and all of that, and have a content plan and whatever. So I am considering going more in that direction now, which makes me sad for the blog, because words are my thing. I want to be able to type out a whole paragraph, and can't really do that on YouTube. So, but I definitely think, look, in America, YouTubing is big, and I think that that trend is going to follow us in South Africa.
Yeah, and I mean there are quite a few big YouTubers in the country already,
Mm.
but I think like for do you think blog will be one of those things like newspaper versus e-magazine type of things where the one kind of fades out over time?
I feel like it's already happening. Like,
Okay.
we've had a lot of publishing houses close down. Caxton closed down. It's one of the
Mm-hmm.
biggest publishing houses or well, some of the publications closed down at least.
Yeah, yeah.
It was really sad because it's kind of like the end of an era. But essentially, the bloggers and the content creators and the e-magazines of this world are now rising up. And it's actually predicted that content creators or influencers, I hate that word, but influencers, it's said that the influencer market will only grow. It's only going to grow. It's not going anywhere. A lot more businesses are throwing their money at influencers and the influencer market. So I do
Mm-hmm.
think that, like the e-magazines, I think you'll see a lot more of that. I mean, look at Huffington Post. Huffington Post was like but a little blog a couple of years ago, and now
Mm-hmm.
it's
As well as
really big.
Medium as well. I mean, they're one of the top
Yeah.
searched websites on Google at the moment. So if someone wants to start a blog now in this time on a budget, how would you suggest they do that?
So if I were to start a blog on a budget, I would go to wordpress.com and I would create a profile there. It's actually free, and you don't need coding experience. They've got all these templates that you can use. They've got plugins. It's really, really easy. And then the other thing I did was I employed someone, or I got someone to create logos for me so that it looks a little bit professional. And then eventually, if you feel like, you know what, I'm ready to go big, you can purchase your own domain, which means your URL will be personalized. It won't say, whatever your blog's name is, wordpress.com or
Mm-hmm.
.co.za. It would
Okay.
actually, you would own that space, own
Okay.
that website. Yeah.
So it would be like
So,
lancesblog.co.za or
yes,
.com. Okay.
yes,
Awesome.
yes.
Awesome. Okay, so do you also have some maybe tips on how someone can choose their niche? For instance, you do the mommy blogging thing, so you obviously speak about more family type of stuff. If
Yeah.
I want to do something else other than that, how do you think I can go ahead with that?
I think find the one thing that you love speaking the most about, because remember, you need to be pushing out content regularly. And if you want to talk about sneakers, but you wear sneakers like once a month, it's kind of not going to work for you. So find something that you are passionate about, or something that's really like entrenched in your day-to-day life that will make it easier for you to share content. The other thing you need to be mindful of is the name of your website or the name of your blog. Like I said this before, if you want to call your blog Single Girl in PE, but you may not always be single and you may not always live in PE, then it's kind of going to be irrelevant eventually. So you maybe want to say Lady of the World.
Yeah, that sounds a bit dubious.
Yeah. My point is that you want to make sure that your blog name will enable you to grow as a content creator and will be able to like encompass you like later on in life. It depends on how long you're going to be doing that for. So I know someone who her blog was pregnant in Cape Town, and she is no longer pregnant. She was only pregnant at one time.
Okay.
It was quite, she had to get that whole like vibe, because now she created a following with that name, and she had the persona with that name, based on that name, and like changed that. So yeah.
Okay. No, cool. That's some good tips. So I know you touched on traffic, so I'm not going to touch that again. But I think probably one of the things that people really want to always know, I know you've touched on this as well previously, but how to monetize your blog.
Yeah.
So how you can actually get something in your pocket, for all the words that you put out.
Yeah. Look, first things first, you want your audience to trust what you're saying. So if you're going to do reviews, for example, you can't I had a situation a couple of years ago where, I'm going to mention names, where both Huggies and Pampers wanted to work with me at the same time, which was phenomenal because I'm like, Mama needs some free nappies. It's expensive out here. But at the same time, if I'm going, hey, look at me, buy Huggies, and then next week I'm like, look at me, buy Pampers, how trustworthy is my content? How am I saying this is amazing and then this is amazing? So be a trusted source of information. Number two, once you are that person and once people start coming to you for that, brands actually pick that up. I know someone who started blogging and she refused to show her face and her real name or whatever. And people find it really hard to relate with her. And I know it's like identity catfishing, whatever. It's like it's a flip. But being relatable, because at the end of the day, the brand is investing in who you are as a person and how your audience relates with you as a person. So I would say that work on being relatable, work on being a trusted source of information, tag the brands. You don't need to get it for free in order to tell people how quiet it is. I love these fine liners and I tell people all the time, and I did not get it for free. So it's not about freebies. It's about providing quality content that is helpful.
Yeah.
Don't be shy to tag. Don't be like, oh, just now people think I'm weird for tagging. Tag Pick and Pay Girl. Trust me.
Oh boy. Do that. Yeah.
And also, a lot of these brands, if you go onto their websites, they actually have email addresses for their PR companies or their marketing people, etc., available.
Okay.
If you put a proposal together, send it to them. Don't be shy. Some of them actually appreciate when you come to them with fresh ideas. So
that's awesome. I didn't know that actually. That's really cool. So basically you have to be able to add value. So that's probably the main thing there, is being able to add value, not just for a freebie, but for yourself, basically your own brand. I think you would.
Another little tip I can give you is this. If you have, once you have your blog, you want to create a media kit. So your media kit kind of tells, it's a one-pager that tells, it's like a CV, who you are, what you write about, your links to your social media and your website, what your rates are. And then go and Google PR companies in South Africa and email them and say, hi, I'm a new blogger. I blog about XYZ. I'd love if you could add me to your media lists. Because they have a quota of how many press releases, for example, they need to send out every month.
Okay.
So if they can add you to that list, great. Now you are on a list. That's like a first step. And
Okay, awesome, man. That's really cool. I didn't know that either. I didn't know about
Yeah.
the media kit learning. That's good. So, just before we do wrap up, Luchae, if anyone wants to go on this journey of blogging and they want to become a blogger, what is the one piece of advice that you think is imperative to their success?
Um, like I said earlier, provide value. Sometimes your value can be entertainment. Like I don't always maybe share like the hottest new product to buy. I like to just talk a lot and people find that entertaining and they come there for that. Or they come there for the realness because they want to, like I say, be able to relate and have a, oh, me too moment. Like, oh, my husband also snores at night. But, people, my husband does actually snore, but that's not the point. So people want the me too moment. So either providing entertainment or you're providing information that's relevant and that they can use. Don't make stuff up and don't lie, because if like I said, every single product you use is so amazing, oh my gosh, it's life-changing, I don't know if I'm going to trust you. That's my one piece of advice. Literally, that's the most important. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is really good. So, where can people firstly see your blog? And then if they do want to follow you or maybe just reach out as well, where can they do that?
Okay, so my blog is called My Spreadsheet Brain. Yeah, it's a weird name. www.myspreadsheetbrain.co.za. And then I'm also on Instagram under the same name and also on Facebook under the same name.
Okay, awesome, man. I'll link them down below so you guys can catch them
Yeah.
there. There we go. There. Yeah. So I'll link them there. I hope that some people do reach out to you actually and that they do follow you. I hope this does boost your following as well so people can actually get what they're seeing here in those words. That
I've
would be
actually
awesome.
written a few on my website. There are a few posts about blogging, which maybe could also be helpful. So basically, more or less what we spoke about, um, you could actually read it.
On there.
Like,
Cool. Maybe if you can send me the links, I'll include that as well down in the
oh yeah,
description. That would be
yeah,
awesome. So thank you so much for your time, Luchae. I really enjoyed this. I learned a lot about blogging. So thank you so much.
cool. And I look forward to seeing your blog.